The whole idea for this again is to be able to transmit onto us that God is the author of the institution. Only Him has the final say on how it should be done. And our feelings do not, our society do not, our generation do not, trends do not, only Him. Now, in whatever sense you understand what traditional means, there is one word or there is one place where they meet. It's called authority. Authority is from God, glory is from Him. And as long as the word and life exist, those things cannot be evolved away from. If you believe you're in love, love is not breaking away the authority structures in the person's life. No, love is submitting to it. Those who have been hurt will hurt others. Those who have been broken will try to break others. Those who have been bitter will try to sow that into others. God still expects marriage to be to death to do us part. Separation means that, in layman terms, we are not in the same house. We are giving ourselves space, but we are married. Because being in the same house is toxic. Being in the same space is toxic, but we are married. God, he that finds, you have to search. It's not that it will just fall on your legs like ripe mangoes. No, you have to search. And that does not mean now when somebody is hearing search, somebody will be thinking, oh, you date this one. No, searching is inward. You have to first know what you are looking for if you're going to search for it out there. So because of upbringing, exposure of the souls to worldly concepts, freedom to some persons is like the ability to sin. Love is romance, love is kindness, love is sacrifice, love is selflessness, love is goodness, love is not just romance.
In a world full of confusion, pressure, and distractions, we help create content that gives clarity, direction, and practical wisdom that you can apply in your everyday life. So, if you're a young person out there trying to figure out life, build a future, and stay grounded in God, then you're in the right place. Welcome once again to the podcast.
Hello, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the final episode of Gen Z and marriage. So, we've been on this episode for a while. This should be like the seventh episode. I intended to stop this episode like in episode 4. Somehow we got to 6. Somehow we got to 7. So, perfect number 7. We'll stop here at episode 7, and I am hoping that maybe we may visit it again. Just maybe, just maybe. Definitely. Let's see what happens. And I hope with some of the things we've shared in this episode, you've been able to glean some knowledge, information, wisdom as touching God's idea for the union. The whole idea for this again is to be able to transmit onto us that God is the author of the institution. Only Him has the final say on how it should be done. And our feelings do not, our society do not, our generation do not, trends do not, only Him. And I trust that we'll keep moving in that light. So today we want to deal with some of the final questions within Gen Z's and marriage. And you are going to be really blessed. So let's get into it. This one says that, is the traditional marriage model dead, or is it just evolving? Is the traditional marriage model dead, or is it just evolving? Um, in some places, in some phases, it looks dead. And let's be clear, when we're saying the traditional marriage model, um, there are two ways we can look at it when we say traditional. Within the context of our space continent, like let's say third world countries, there is a sense upon which we understand what traditional means. And in a sense, when you say first world countries, second world countries, there is a sense in which they understand what the word traditional means. Now, in whatever sense you understand what traditional means, there is one word or there is one place where they meet. There is a word that they meet, and that word is foundational. It's called authority. Why authority? Is because in any way you put the word traditional, there is one thing we are trying to get at is the consent upon which that marriage institution or that marriage is about to take place. And by consent, I'm talking about consent of both parties, the authorities in the life of both parties. Parents, uncles, guardians, siblings, authorities in the life of both parties, is giving them that space, and that was the original idea, is giving them that space to give consent for the union. So in African countries, Nigeria, for example, we call it bride price. Other nations may have it. I think in South Africa, there used to be a movie for it. I think it's called Obola or something, Abola or something. I can't remember, but I know there's a la in the thing. LA, yes, something Shobola or something. South Africa has the name, but I think the whole concept too, it's the money you pay. Like if you use the as the word implies in Nigeria, the bride price is the price you pay for the bride. You know that there is no money you can pay for a human being. But many times the what it means is just the fact that it's the is seeking consent from the authority structure, especially from the life of the bride, in order for us to say, okay, you can go ahead, you have my consent. Authority is key. Now, that being said, I don't think that can evolve or fade away because, like one of my mentors said, my book mentors, Watchman Nee, they will tell you that there are two words that are hard to explain because those two words are not from the human origin. It's called glory and authority. Authority is from God, glory is from Him. And as long as the word and life exist, those things cannot be evolved away from. It may take different shape and form, but authority should not ever be eroded. In that sense, I don't think it should die or should be dead. I don't think so. I don't think it would be fair for if I have my daughter, for example, someone comes now and just run off with her and says that they're in love without my consent and authority. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think I'll be pleased with that. I don't think my son should do that to anybody's daughter. I don't think anybody deserves to be treated that way. If you believe you're in love, love is not breaking away the authority structures in the person's life. No, love is submitting to it. That's critical. That's critical. That's in the sense for giving the context and space like ours. By the time you go into first world nations, it's still the same thing when you say traditional marriage settings. That's when, in a sense, becomes the white wedding, the gowns, the suits, the all of that. That's traditional to them. So, in that sense, the concept of that also is having your family consent, your family be around, your family support you into this process, having the blessing of your family and also having the blessing of the church. In that sense, I don't think that should be dead either, too. Like I said, authority is foundational. It comes from eternity to the earth. When it reaches the earth, it takes different forms and shape, but it's foundational. So it shouldn't die. Always have respect for places and spaces where you find authority. Never do anything outside places and spaces or in spaces and places where there is no authority or without authority. Always seek for the consent of authority within the space and place that you intend to carry out an act of action. It's very critical. It's very critical. This one says that how do you build marriage or build a marriage where both people feel respected and not trapped? Love, sincerity, working on yourself to be a good person, to be a sincere person, working on yourself. Like I said to us in the last episode, a good marriage is not just good because marriage is good. A good marriage is a union of two good people. So let me borrow a word that is not in English, gooder. The gooder I am, or the more good I am, and the more good my spouse is to the extent my marriage will be good. And good has all kinds of phases. That's what good is. Good is not just like is good. No, there are dimensions to good. Good could be kindness, good could be gentleness, good could be patience, good could be maturity, good could be sincerity, good could be loyalty. A good marriage is a combination of good people. So the more I go in depth in good, the more I can build such a union where my spouse feels respected, my spouse feels loved, my spouse feels they are not trapped. And you see this thing, this the scripture that says that love your neighbor as yourself, love your neighbor as yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. It means that to the extent to which you've come to understand loving you is only to that extent you can extend to another person. Those who have been hurt will hurt others. Those who have been broken will try to break others. Those who have been bitter will try to sow that into others. So the more I work on myself, automatically, the more my spouse comes to that level, because marriage is a mirror. People only reflect what you show to them. That is how you build such a institution. I like this one. This one says that does God I like what the person is saying is I can imagine the person's face. Does God still expect marriage to be till there to do his part in this generation? I'm laughing because it's like we think our generation is special. God still expects marriage to be to death to do us part. And funny enough, I was having this conversation with my wife recently, and she said to me, how do you say that? Is there anywhere where it's written in the Bible that he did do us part? I said yes. When God says I hate divorce, what does that mean? It means I don't want separation. I don't like it. I don't want that separation. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. I know some people want to make a case for it's not every union that God joins. You can't actually make an effective case for that. It's not true. And that's a story for another day. But the point is, what God has joined together, let no man or let not man put asunder. What does that tell you? In the beginning, it was not so, Jesus said. He made them Adam and Eve, and his idea was what? At least till to the end. God still expects that. I know that somebody may not be asking, what if there's abuse in the union, there's threats to life in the union? Again, we have God knew those things were going to show up. So it's not like God is taken by surprise, like, wow, oh, I have designed this thing for ever. I'm surprised. Oh, there's abuse. No, God was not taken aback. He knew there would be abuse, and he's still standing by his word. So, what happens in those cases? You will not need the wisdom on how to go about it. Best case scenario, or worst case scenario, I don't know which one now. You can do separation. Separation means that, in layman terms, we are not in the same house. We are giving ourselves space, but we are married. Because being in the same house is toxic. Being in the same space is toxic, but we are married. God still expects it to be till death do us part. He still expects. A generation can rise to do what they want to do. But if it's God you are asking for, he still expects it. His word does not change. He has not changed his mind about it either. He has not changed his mind about it. So that is why, as much as possible, choose somebody well that you can take, because the journey is long. Choose somebody you can take that journey with. This one says that, is it possible to find someone who shares your faith and your ambition? Yes, that is what the process of seeking or finding is. The Bible said, he that finds a good wife. Or no, he that finds a wife, not a good wife, he that finds a wife finds a good thing, and he obtains favor from the Lord. Now, the emphasis here is on finding. Why did they use the word finding? Because you have to search. You have to search. He that finds. You have to search. It's not that it will just fall on your legs like ripe mangoes. No, you have to search. And that does not mean now when somebody is hearing search, somebody will be thinking, oh, you date this one. No, searching is inward. You have to first know what you are looking for if you're going to search for it out there. So when you see it, you identify it. You don't have to go through 1,000. It's first the work of searching starts first by knowing what you need first. When that is done, then from there you can identify it on the outside. If you are still going from one to one to one, it means that if you have a first problem, you've not settled inside what you want. So that is why you are hoping to just stumble into it as you go from one person to another. So it's very possible. And you should find somebody who shares your faith, who shares your ambition. And by ambition, you're not talking of selfish self ambition. No, I'm talking of just basically maybe things you would want to do for God, or a shape and way you would want your life, your family life, your Christian life, your work with God to look like based on the assignment, purpose, and calling you know for your life. That may be your ambition. I'm not talking of selfish ambition or self ambition. No, it's very important you find somebody who is like that. And let me just throw this out there. It's going to cause confusion. I'm not going to settle it. But let me just throw it out there. I was convinced of that recently. And my father in the Lord convinced me of this. He said, for everybody, there is a specific person that has been made for you, for your faith and for your ambition. God saw you coming and he made someone specific for it. Find the person. Oh, somebody will not be saying, what if, like as I said, it's going to be a confusion. I'm going to leave it out there. If you want to have a conversation about it, you can comment. Then I would see that you want to have a conversation about it. Just write, I do not believe one person has been made for. Then we can start having a conversation for that. Is that okay? This one says, why, and I think this is where we're going to end. Is my generation the first one that actually has to choose between marriage and personal freedom? Not really, but to a large extent, it's much more obvious now. Not really that every generation that had to struggle with that. One of the major struggles of marriage is I lose my personal freedom when I'm married, but it's not true. It depends on your perspective about life. It depends on how you're seeing life. It depends on your perspective about life. He that is righteous, he that is right, he that is clean in heart has nothing to fear. Has nothing to fear. I don't think I'm married, so I don't think I've lost my personal freedom. I don't think I'm caged. Except you're looking at it, that's why I said it depends on your perspective about life. Except what you're calling personal freedom is your ability or tendency to be lascivious, to just be out there dating who you want to date, sleeping around who you want to sleep with. If that's what you call freedom, that's a different ball game entirely. But if you're saying that the freedom to be yourself, I don't think I'm trapped in my marriage. I don't think I'm not being free. So because of upbringing, exposure of the souls to worldly concepts, freedom to some persons is like the ability to sin. Let's just call it what it is. Marriage should stop that. You should not have the freedom to sin. Marriage should stop it. That's why it's a good thing. Except you want to live for that. But we're not the first to choose between marriage and personal freedom. Every generation actually struggle with it, but it's just becoming much more obvious. And like I said to us in one of the episodes, that is because of the advent of the internet, information is spreading like wildfire. Also, with that information is exposure of people's minds, thoughts, perspectives, so to feed on those things. So, and with exposure comes desires, wants, and those kinds of things. That's the foundation of the problem. So let's end with this. If most Gen Z see marriage as a tool for stability rather than romance. Does love even matter anymore? Yes. Love is not just a feeling, if and that's why maybe this person is asking. Love is not just a feeling. Love matters at every point in marriage. I think in one of the episodes I told us that love, the one of the greatest indicators of love is sacrifice. You will always need that every step of the way in the journey of marriage. So love doesn't finish like at the point. Love is not just for romance. Romance is just one aspect of love, but it's not all that there is to love. Love is romance, love is kindness, love is sacrifice, love is selflessness, love is goodness, love is it's not just romance. So if they see it as a tool of stability, yes, does that mean that love is not more? No, love is still important. And you should see it as a tool of stability, one, but that does not stop love from being there. That does not stop it from being romantic. I can actually believe it's a tool for stability and still be romantic. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. And I think we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you for following. Now we are on to our next set of episodes. And I think you're going to be blessed. That one is much more biblical, spiritual. I think it's either of two things. Either we're going to be doing understanding the implications and the meaning of the gospel for a younger generation. We're going to talk about the gospel extensively. Or maybe I'm just thinking we'll do modern wisdom. Let's see. Modern wisdom is going to talk about the importance of God's word in the life of the young person. And that's why it's called modern wisdom. Yeah, so let's see. We'll see. Thank you for watching. See you when I see you.